Well, hello to all my beautiful and fabulous swans out there. My name is EJ, and welcome to my channel. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for joining us. And if you're not, what are you waiting for? If you like queer cinema, if you like Ryan Murphy productions, if you like horror films, this is the right place for you. But in this video, we will be focusing on Feud, Capote versus the Swans, episode 4, called It's Impossible. Each and every week, I'm amazed by the sheer elegance and beauty of Capote versus the Swans. Feud Season 1 was a beautiful, outlandish production, but Season 2 is just as good, if not, I think a bit better. I think the story is a little less messy. I think it's a bit more focused. I really like where Season 2 of Feud is going with this Capote versus the Swan story. I will say the only asterisk I have to my praise right now is this episode was a bit chill. It was a bit of a filler episode. I don't think there was a couple revelations, like with the Slim and Will stuff, and where we're seeing the Babe and Capote's so opposite lives but still so intertwined in so many ways. It's okay. I just didn't think that this was the most jam-packed, the most enthralling episode. Episode 1, 2, and 3 were real bangers, and this is still a solid episode. I really like where we went with the story department, but I just felt it was a bit more somber. It was a bit more chill of an episode. Again, coming off Masquerade 1966, which is such a bombastic, loud, lush episode, this is far more chill, far more muted, but we get a lot of story advancements. Some things that I was very like, oh, I didn't know like John O'Shea's child would end up trying to work with Capote. I love watching Babe kind of deal with what she's doing, her strive for perfection, even in the face of death. It's crazy. It's admirable, but it's also like, girl, breathe. I also love everyone kind of coming for Slim this episode. Diane Lane is just a revelation in this. She's so good. Diane Lane is one of our best actresses, but watching her character kind of just get like snarked at and people being like, oh, you're the shade thrower? We got shade to throw at you. I enjoyed a lot of this. Again, it's a chiller episode. I got a Russell Tovey appearance, even though John's character is obnoxiously frustrating, and Joe Manello's here. This is a good cast with good acting. Again, I just was kind of like, well, this is my first meh episode. And again, not meh in the bad way. It was just the first kind of chiller vibe. What did you all think of this one? Because I thought it was pretty good. I think we're in a great spot with the story, and I'm confused, but not in a bad way, of where we're going to go. How does this end? Where do, since again, I don't really know the story, where does Capote end up with the Swans? Mostly, where does he end up with Babe and, that whole relationship? But at the same time, I'm curious to see what happens with Slim. I know, like, Will Paley lives for quite some time after, the 70s. So there's just so many pieces here that I'm really intrigued by. I would also say, I know I shaded him the first episode, but Treat Williams is so good in this show. R.I.P. to such a legend in this industry and to such a good figure on the show. I find some of the male storylines, I'm like, oh, here's Paley, with Slim, shocking, and then dealing with Babe. Oh God, here's the drunk douchebag, John, and then here's Jack trying to be nice and clean things up. Some of the dudes here I'm a bit frustrated with because their stories aren't as juicy as the Swans are. But again, Treat Williams is doing such fabulous work, and it's just it sucks that we've lost him as a talent because Ryan Murphy was really finding a place for him in the Ryan Murphy universe. So I was happy to see him. I'm just happy to see this whole cast. Calista Flockhart's doing great. Molly Ringwald, not in it enough. I would like to see more. Maybe I don't. I don't know enough about her character or her as an actress really in this adult era. So again, there's just so much in this episode, even if it's not the most jam-packed one, that I'm still like, wow, what a great show. I'm enjoying it. The beauty of Gus Van Sant. I've always been a Ryan Murphy stan, but once Ryan Murphy started letting other filmmakers really run these productions, that's why I think I like Delicate so much. That's why I think I really like Capote versus the Swans. We get the Ryan Murphy aesthetic, the universes, but with different directors trying to bring that vision to life, and it's worked out well. Gus Van Sant needs to stay in the Ryan Murphy universe because this is a match made in heaven. Episode 4, The Impossible, begins with Babe striving for perfection, looking fabulous, just to be going to get a treatment. It really says a lot about the Babe character that even in the face of so much hardship, and this is not an easy part of her life, and just her resolution with so much, with still wanting to look fabulous, with not wanting to hold grudges. I know Slim is all about we're shutting off Truman Capote for the rest of our lives, and Babe's like, okay, mine's not as long as yours, so I have other things to do. And we're seeing really Slim try to pull her own strings. She's with lunch with CZ, and they're talking about Capote wanting to throw another black and white party. It seems to not fold. It doesn't come out as it is planned, but we're seeing Slim just not have time. She breaks the news about the other party, and we're seeing Slim also kind of throw some shade. She's doing a bunch of blind items in the tabloids to try to make this party seem less than, all while Capote's trying to get clean. He's still with John, and John's still fairly abusive, and he's still drinking while Truman's trying to get sober, and this is the moment where he needs this time. Like, he gets hit one more time by John and he leaves. He ends up trying to get help with Jack O'Shea, or with Jack, the Joe Manello character. And I love that Jack comes in and tries so hard. He gets him a rehab. He tells him, like, hey, your brain is shrinking because of all the drinking. What are you going to do about this? So Jack tries to get him to a facility. It's working vaguely until, again, John stumbles back into the house, and it's just like, he needs to go. He needs to go. And I'm not saying like, needs to go. He just needs to get up out of this man's life. But I love that John's daughter ends up coming later on. We'll talk about that in a moment. But I love what John's offering for stories for Truman Capote's character. But John is a frustrating character for sure. Yeah, we're seeing Capote and Babes kind of opposite stories going on. Babes dealing with the end of her life, and Capote's kind of gearing for the end of his life in the social status and maybe physically, because he's not doing too good. It's quite interesting, the juxtaposition of these characters and how different they are, but at the inside they still want to be back with each other, and I'm like heartbroken. But I feel like I get Slim's anger and wanting to protect everybody, but as CZ and as Calista Flockhart's lead character, we don't need you to protect everyone that you think is less than you, girl. But I also get where, like, they just want to be BFFs again. I've had issues with friends of mine where I'm like, but I want to be their friend again. Even though they did something, I did something, I want to be their friend again. And I deeply understand the story, very much so. While CZ and Joanne Carson go to visit Capote in rehab, while we're out of the rehab story, we're finding out Slim is sleeping with William Paley. Babe's husband? Girl. What? Oh, but people know. It seems like Babe knows. It seems like Lee knows, because Lee goes to dinner, lunch. God, I've seen so many people eat at fancy restaurants in this show. They go to thing, and Lee's just like shading the hell out of Slim and basically kind of depositioning Slim out of the top of the mountain. She's like, girl, we get it, but also we don't get it. They're all not trying to forgive Capote, but they're also saying, like, especially Babe's position, she does not have a lot of time. Holding this much anger and resentment this close to the end of your life is not going to help the end of your life. She says that when she's, having a really beautiful scene with Paley. I just love Babe and William's relationship as much as I don't get his cheating and I don't get her striving for perfection. But I like that they understand each other. And she says, like, I know what's happening. This sends Slim off into a tizzy where she's like, we're breaking up the affair. We're doing this. And I'm like, did you just want to do it behind your girl's back? Like, I feel like Babe's trying to prepare William for the after of her leaving him, with her passing. So she's trying to be like, let's just if you want to be with Slim, be with Slim. Maybe that could help you, because some men cannot deal without their women in their life. We're seeing it with Capote. We're seeing it with Paley. Like, if Babe dies, what does he do? Does he know how to cook dinner? Like, these. So she's trying to set him up, and I really understand her character and what she's trying to do. It's confusing, it's hard hitting, but again, it's complicated, and that's what I love about the story. From its look at misogyny from gay men to wanting that best friend even if they hurt you. These are complicated ideas and stories, and they're handling it so well in the show. The end of the episode is where things really pick up for me. We're seeing, unfortunately, Truman breaks Jack's promises to get sober and ends up meeting up with John again, drinking, and Jack's done. Joe Manello, I hope he never comes back. I hope he is truly done with Capote, because, again, going back to the man who is basically getting you to drink and beating you, goodness, why would you do this? But this does lead to John O'Shea's daughter showing up at Truman's house and being like, I need help. My dad's broke. You took him away from us, which thank you, because he is kind of a hot mess, but I need help. I want to be in your life. And he's finding like a young swan almost, and he's going to turn this ugly duckling into a swan. I feel like that's where the story is going with these two characters, and I think that he needs a protege. It could help him sober up. It could make him feel better, though this also leads to a very confusing moment for me at the end where Capote and Babe run into each other. They're doing separate therapies, very much talking about each other and, their ways of, she loves him so much and he misses her, and they have a moment where they share it together and they're getting to talk and meet up with each other, and he tells her about, I'm kind of working with this young writer, I want to help her out. She gives him positive words about the party that they were never going to have. He tells her to get a nice dress. You don't always need parties are overrated. It's such a good moment. But did this really happen? Was this just what Babe wanted to happen? Will her and Capote have a moment, like, legit together before she passes? I'm so confused. What did you guys take of this ending? Was this just she says, oh, I have this thing about meeting up with him in Paris, blah, blah, blah. Do you think that happened? Is this what the moment is? I was a bit thrown off because, again, this show can get into hazy dream sequence without us even really knowing. So I am a little curious what you thought of this ending. But that conversation, again, her seeing that he's going to have a new swan and maybe he's different this time, maybe he won't expose her secrets, and it's interesting why he did what he did, and he wants to write this new book. There's a lot of things happening. I really want to see where we are with next episode with Jack O'Shea's daughter working with Capote, with Slim kind of losing her power as the head of the Swans. Where will we go as we head closer to Babe's death? I'm curious. I want more of it. What do you guys think of it? I cannot wait for next week's episode because, again, this one was good, but I'm hungry for even more. All right, everyone, that is it for my review of Capote vs. the Swans. Feud Season 2 is deliciously great so far. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Hope you're subscribed. Hope you're commenting. Hope you're giving me all those thumbs up. All the stuff that YouTube makes everyone do. Make sure you're doing it for me as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Let's talk about Capote vs. the Swans, where let's get ready for American Horror Story Delicate coming very, very soon. Cannot wait for that. Comment down below. Get all your info. Get all your fun stuff. If you have more Capote vs. the Swans related stuff for me to watch, throw it down below. I'm gonna Infamous and Capote are this week's viewings, so I will have kind of mini reviews of those coming up. Cannot wait. Subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and let's talk about this latest episode of Capote vs. the Swans right down here.